The Heart of Asia conference is underway in Tajikistan. The summit brings together Afghanistan's neighbours and other regional powers as well. The Indian External Affairs Minister Jaishankar said at the conference that India remained committed to the development of Afghanistan in order to make the country self-sufficient. He also said that India will continue to work towards improving Afghanistan's connectivity. The Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and Pakistan's Foreign Minister were also seen on the same platform for the first time since 2019 during their photo op session. Meanwhile, Tajikistan's President Emomali Rahman said that last 4 decades have shown that there is no military solution to the problems persisting in Afghanistan. Now, this Heart of Asia conference talks come after Russia recently held a conference in Moscow to intensify negotiations between the Afghan government, the Taliban and the United States and Qatar. The United States is supposed to complete a withdrawal of all its troops from Afghanistan by May 1st as part of a deal with the Taliban, a deadline that US President Joe Biden had earlier said that it would be tough to meet. The Kremlin, which pulled Soviet troops from Afghanistan in 1989 after a bruising occupation, last week threw its weight behind Washington's initiative for interim government that included the Taliban. Now, for more on the developments at the conference, WION's correspondent Julia Chapman now joins us live from Moscow. Julia, thanks so much for joining us. Now, tell us a little bit about Moscow's view and its plans in the peace process, especially when it comes to the negotiations underway in Afghanistan as of now.
Moscow has held a number of these talks in the last couple of years, the most recent ones, as you mentioned, a couple of weeks ago, as Russia really tries to insert itself in the Afghan peace process, trying to act as a mediator and a prime negotiator for these very difficult talks that are now ongoing in many different formats. And of course, all of this comes against the backdrop of the impending withdrawal of US troops, which is aimed for May 1st, although President Joe Biden has cast doubt on that date. And that alone has caused a lot of tension. Now, Russia's position is very similar to that of the US. It wants to see a power-sharing agreement in Afghanistan between the current government and the Taliban. Now, that's something that has been very much resisted by the Afghan government, which says it doesn't want to see any transition of power that doesn't happen democratically. We are hearing some reports that there could be a proposal for fresh elections in Afghanistan in 6 months' time. That hasn't yet been confirmed, but that could go some way to allaying the concerns of the Taliban if no power-sharing agreement can be reached in the meantime. But of course, everybody's watching very closely for what's coming up next month in Turkey, which will at some point, there's been no date announced yet, but Turkey is due to host the next round of talks where there's expected to be some sort of a breakthrough on the peace process in Afghanistan.
Right. Now, Julia, another question that I have for you is that what does Russia really stand to gain by acting as a mediator in these peace negotiations in Afghanistan?
Well, it has a number of interests, not least that it's trying to build its clout on the international stage in many areas of negotiation, this just being one of them. It's also tried to insert itself into the North Korea talks, as well as a number of other international issues around the world. But of course, there's also a security element as well. Russia very afraid of any kind of Islamist insurrection on its own land. Of course, Afghanistan borders a number of Central Asian countries, which of course were part of the former Soviet Union, and there have been incidents of some extremists finding their way into Russia and carrying out attacks here. So it's certainly in Russia's strategic interest to ensure peace in Afghanistan, but also, of course, a diplomatic angle, as Russia does try to present itself on the world stage as someone that has influence when it comes to these big, intractable issues.
Right, Julia, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on WION, and thank you for all your inputs on this story. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.